All right, welcome to Nathaneal Podcast. Today we have a returning guest, my good friend and a elite creator from X, Dan West. Welcome, man.
Well, thank you for the very succinct but flattering intro. So yeah, bro, appreciate it. It's good to be back. Good to be back, and good to reconnect and see what's on the cards for today, bro. Because we could end up anywhere. I remember last time was eventful, so let's do this.
Yeah, man. What I always admire about seeing your profile is you really stick with the idea of basically make money being yourself, right? Like make money just being yourself. I'm curious though, like if people ask what you do for a living, what do you normally tell them?
I get asked that question all the time here, and the answer always changes. I actually tell them. I've been more honest lately, and I've been telling people because I feel like there's so many there's so many narratives about how you should present yourself. Some people say, if you can't tell me what you do in one sentence, then you failed the elevator pitch. I'm like, okay, I used to subscribe to that. I was like, I really need to condense down what I do. And then recently I've just been saying to people honestly, I don't really have a straight answer for you because I serve the same person in different ways. So it's like, to some people I could look like I am an advertiser that gets paid sometimes to advertise for other people, and then sometimes I advertise for myself. But then other people will be like, oh, you're a growth operator. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but not all my clients are people I operate for, are people I do things for. And then other people will be like, oh, you're a coach. And I'll be like, well, it's not exclusive what I do. I do a lot of different things. So if someone had to ask me what I do in one sentence, I would say I help people raise their level of awareness and consciousness to a point where the limitations of making money, of business, of their beliefs essentially dissolve, and they find new ways and creative ways to make money that requires less effort and more creativity. I would say that's what I do. And that's kind of, that needs work, but I'd say that's the closest thing to what I do right now. And I just help people in different ways.
Wow. So you help people in a way more of changing people's mindset on work and creativity and making money. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't pitch myself as a mindset guy, but what I've realized is 99% of the game is kind of mindset, because I've worked with people, the logistics of things are actually quite easy, and learning skills is actually quite easy. The tactical stuff and the skills, that's the easy part, because that just requires repetition, effort, and some intention. But if someone has a faulty mindset, if someone doesn't believe that they're worthy of acquiring money or being paid for what they do or raising their prices or even having a good life, most of the problems I've found in business are all tied to mindset problems. And I'd actually go deeper, and I'd say they're usually spiritual problems. They're usually deeply embedded issues with people's beliefs, and that is usually goes hand in hand with poor spiritual health. If you have bad mental health and poor spiritual health, I can guarantee you're going to have problems with your business. And not everyone who does well in business has good mental health. They're not mutually exclusive. You can have terrible mental health and do really well in business. That's fine. There's so many people who are examples of that. But they've at least figured things out on a spiritual level that maybe isn't obvious to everyone else, is how to accumulate resources, whether it be financial, making money, whether it's energy, whether it's people. They figured out a way to acquire that stuff, and effectively deep down in their belief system, they believe that they are worthy of it, and they believe that they deserve it, or at the very least, they don't think that they're unworthy of it, which is probably one of the biggest blocks I see. It's such a simple problem, but hard to fix. And then if you go a step deeper, you realize that generally that person's spiritual health is usually pretty trashed as well, like mine was for a large part of the beginning of this year. And as soon as I fixed that, I realized that everything became a lot easier, and I started living almost like when I was a kid. when I was a kid and things would just kind of happen and you were being yourself without even realizing it. It's only when you sort of like get into this game where you become hyper conscious and hyper aware of everyone else and yourself, you become kind of hypercritical. And if you become hypercritical, self-esteem usually goes down the toilet pretty fast. Although all you're doing is simply trying to better yourself and trying to find your place in this relatively competitive system we're in. And then, I don't know, not everyone has the same path, but for me it was lots of success and then sudden decline. And I wondered what the decline came from. And the decline came from the fact that I lost faith in myself. So it's like a bit of a self-esteem issue, but then I looked deeper and it was like, well, I also lost faith in God. Like I wasn't talking to God. I wasn't engaging with God. I wasn't even thinking about him or whatever your expression is of it. It was the last thing on my mind. All that was on my mind was how do I stay relevant? How do I compete? How do I stay ahead of the curve? How
Get
do
more
I
attention.
Get more attention? And that was actually like taking me further away from what I really was trying to achieve. So that's like a rundown. I can't even remember what the original question was, but clearly it was a good one because it set me off.
Damn, dude. Like when you were speaking there, a lot of things, I related to a lot of things because first off, what you said about the technical stuff, it is about repetition because I've had like clients as well. So I also do a little bit of consulting where I don't really do for you. So I'm a ghostwriter, which I think you also kind of did somewhat. But I also do for you. Instead of me writing, I just teach the person. But I noticed that even if I give them all the systems and we hop on calls, we hop on more calls than usual, and I really give them like a rundown of what they're supposed to do. It seems that they're still confused because they do lack that self-belief that, my offer is worth it. Like, like I don't think I should be charging. I don't know. Like sometimes the questions are like, should I give them a discount? Or when should I tell the price? Like these things. And I also noticed that I have that on myself where, like, man, I was like having so much highs for the past few months, like last year and in the beginning of this year. But then there was just a sudden dip because like I was abusing myself. Actually, like I had a client that I was doing everything for them and they were paying me well, but I was just really like, I didn't even take care of my brand anymore. I didn't take care of myself. And same with you. Like I used to read the Bible every day. Like I used to read the Bible when I wake up. But because I was so stressed with this client, I would wake up and work. And like the only time my breaks would be for health, like basically working out or eating. And although you could say that I was productive, my creative work has declined. And I forgot where I read this, but it's like productive is not equal to creativity. And when you're a creative person, like I was actually a writer first before a business person, so I liked writing more. I couldn't write, man. Like I tried to, like all I could think about when I was gonna write a newsletter or like an email was like, I need to sell. I couldn't even have like a time where just I wanted to write because I wanted to write about myself. Because I was thinking like, shit, this is not gonna sell. Like no one's gonna buy from me if I write this. And eventually, like that client, I had the courage to finally tell that client, yo, like I can't do everything for you if you're not, because it's a personal brand. I was working for a person and he wasn't doing anything. Like I was literally doing everything for him. And although he was paying me well, I was like, yo, I don't think this is going to work. Like you're wasting my time and I'm wasting your money, because what's happening right now is like I'm working my ass off, but you're not putting in the effort. And even if I get you all these leads, you're not closing them, right? Like you can give me all the money you want, but then we're both just going to be resentful of each other because you're giving me money and not getting results. I'm giving you effort, but you're not closing the clients. Something like that. Like I'm giving you the leads, but you're not closing them. And so I had the courage, like last month, to fire that client, and my revenue like dipped, of course, because he was one of my highest paying clients. But dude, like right now I have a free calendar, and honestly, like it was so worth it to sacrifice that money for the freedom that I have. And like, dude, I got to journal again. I got to write the things I wanted to and have more direction, and I know what to do. But yeah, man, that's my reflection on what you said.
Dude, it sounds like you're just getting more aligned with why you started this thing. And like, I'm the same as you. I I only I've always been a salesman deep down, but I really just wanted to sell my own work. Like that was all I wanted to do. And then I'm an extremist. You go deep into that skill set and you have to. And then eventually, you realize you're like, oh, if I want to keep doing this, I have to be earning a good wage. I have to be wage is the wrong word. I have to be earning the right money. Like at the very least enough to keep this thing going. And then you start getting into the game of making money. And then you realize it's very competitive, especially on Money X. So then you're like, screw my art, screw my like what I want to do. I've got to like climb that ladder of income no matter what. And then coupled with the pressures of real life, especially if like you've got other people depending on you, you're suddenly what you did for enjoyment now has become something, a bastardized version of it, that whatever makes the most money fastest. And I think most creators I know who are still around have fallen into that trap. Some people have milked it for what it's worth. Some people have stuck with it. I don't really care what people choose to do at the end of the day, but my path has been, I started writing because I love writing and creating. As soon as I'm doing it now purely to maximize just revenue, even though I don't necessarily have to, and I'm actually starting to resent what I do, is the moment I go, am I getting away from the essence of what a creator is? And it's funny, I've been reading and just listening to Rick Rubin lately. And his whole philosophy is put the audience last, create for you, create the thing that you want to hear, write the thing that you want to read, and be 100% true to what that is. So I started thinking about stuff like, okay, my writing, am I proud of it? When I proofread it, am I like just trying to get through it? Or am I like, no, this is really good and this is really what you want to say and it doesn't matter what the financial outcome is? Or am I reading something going, yeah, that'll print money. That'll
They'll get clicks.
Yeah, that'll get clicks. And I found myself on that side of things starting to, at least purely on the performance marketing side of things, becoming very bored with it. I get it. Like some people just have that boredom tolerance high and they just love getting results, and so do I. But I think when you've got a deeper message, you're arguably wasting that message that you're here to spread by just using that gift of being able to write and express yourselves and get people to take action, using it in like a very narrow way, which is like, I'm just writing for another person to get them money. Like it's cool and there's purpose in that, but what if you could do something greater with that ability? And what if actually you're only reaching a limited amount of people through your audience or even someone else's audience, when actually if you built something that was a bit more ambitious in terms of not necessarily revenue, but in terms of what you're trying to achieve, your purpose, mission, maybe you're going to leave a bigger footprint, you're going to leave a bigger legacy, you're going to have more of an impact, and actually you're going to serve the world at your highest level of offering, at your highest level of contribution. And that is by being 100% true to who you are and your message, and essentially not creating for revenue, or as Rick Rubin would say, you're not writing or creating for commerce, you're creating for the sake of creating and creating art and creating something that has legacy. I'm with you there, dude, and I feel you. I guess the only reason that we can probably sit here and say it's not about the money is because we've made the money and we've also known what it's like to have ups and downs with that path. And you go, what's worse? as a creative person, like what feels like suffering more? Dealing with a few low income months, or feeling like you have no creativity, you're burnt out, and you have no passion for what you do? Like, what is more suffering? And I know what the answer is for me personally. You could probably guess, because one is a deeper problem than the other. One is easier to solve than the other. So yeah, feel free to take over there and share your insight or share your thoughts or your experience.
I think that's when you said it there, your hell, you know, I would put it in hell, like more suffering, meaning like a hellish experience would be more of like, because like, dude, I could starve. Like I've been broke, you know what I mean? Like there was one time I was like getting paid $1 per hour. I'm from the Philippines. So like, I'm not new to struggling with finances. I left home. I was basically homeless. I was living in like a 10 square meter apartment. Like I've experienced being broke and it wasn't so bad and I could make money. But like, honestly, if I would say that it was more torturous for me to go through that experience of like trying to just even exploit people. I don't know if that's the right word, but when I kept on just selling and selling and selling, like just trying to squeeze everything out of the revenue like ladder or whatever, I was just, man, I felt like I was losing my soul in a way. And what really helped me there was a Bible verse. Actually, it's from Matthew in the like Sermon on the Mount, where he said like where he said stop worrying so much. It's like, you worry about food, you worry about clothing, and then he's like, the birds are lesser creatures than you, but they get food. The flowers, they're lesser creatures than you, but even Solomon can't dress himself like the flowers. And that's where he said like, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all of this will be given to you. Man, like every time I read that, it hits me differently, because like I worry so much that like I'm gonna lose revenue, or I'm gonna lose status, or people are gonna unfollow me, customers will not buy my products anymore, things like that. I'm gonna be irrelevant. And then it's like what you said there, you lose a sense of purpose. In a way, you lose sight of the kingdom of God, and you just do things for earthly pleasure. And I guess what you said there, it's like some people could tolerate that, and some people have the capacity to do that. But I guess when you live life, like in the Maslow's hierarchy, like when you're trying to get up the Maslow's hierarchy, it's like when you're just stuck with the survival things and you're not really trying to go to the self-actualization part, it just becomes repetitive, and like I start getting bored as well with what I do, even when it's making a lot of money. So that's just my thought right there.
I feel like the enemy of creative people, or probably people who have ADHD like us, is boredom. And I mean, Naval, I love him to pieces, to be fair. Probably been quoted a million times. Like unfortunately, I'm not going to be bringing anything new and novel, but some people might be listening to this and they might never have heard of him. He had a quote which is, keep redefining what you do until you're the best in the world at it. And that to me is like the essence of a creator. It's like, you're not putting yourself in a box ever, and that keeps things fresh. And you hear so many people, like, we live in a world where we want to put things in boxes, we want to put things with labels, and I'm all about that. Like, I'm definitely logic dominant in terms of how I think about things, but I don't ever want to put myself in a box, because then how can I break out of it? Like, how can I break my own limitations if the limitations were created by someone else? You're a this, you're a that. That's not my creation, that's yours. And I'm just going to put myself inside it and say I can't break free of this because it doesn't make money, or it's been proven by that guy that, like, if I put myself in this box, then I'm going to be rich. Like, nah. Like, there's so much more to life than purely just what gets revenue this year, what gets revenue this week. I like money. I think everyone's entitled to be as wealthy as they deserve. I have no beef with it. But when you're saying about what Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount, realize that it's very hard to end up on the street. It's difficult. Like, fair play to those people that have done that. Like, that is not easy.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Bro, it's hard. It's like it's like, wow, you've had to, like, what have you done to get there? Like, that's an achievement. Like, how many bridges have you burnt that no one will even let you stay on the couch? It's crazy. And then you realize that those people they're actually there by choice. We kind of fear the gutter. We fear being on the streets. We fear that because it's associated with bad health, death, all of that stuff that we run from, that we're fearful of. Let alone stacking on top of it, like the fear of just being perceived as low status or inadequate or, God forbid, unsuccessful or broke, right? Like we fear these labels. So like on one side, we fear death and sickness and the practical problems. On the other side, we fear the psychological, societal
social,
stigma
right?
problems, which is like, the social problems, which is like, I don't want to be perceived as low status. I don't want to be perceived as broke. I don't want to be perceived as a loser. I don't want to be perceived as lame. I don't want to be perceived as a fraud. All of these things, like in the end, like it kind of leads us to most people to the conclusion of, I've just got to find the thing that makes me the most money in the shortest amount of time because I'm driven by fear, so much fear. And like the way I see it is, since I've shifted more towards a state of, is the wrong word because I drink a lot of coffee, but not sweating those, like not worrying about how much, not worrying about all those material things, not chasing those material rewards as much and actually chasing a feeling, internal feeling. Everything just starts, this is the only way I can put it, like the things you really want start becoming magnetically drawn to you. And this is the last example I'll use. Like, one problem I've seen a lot of men have is, men in particular, women probably don't have this problem so much because, well, their audience is men and they're pretty straightforward creatures. But like a lot of men struggle just to get attention from women, or like get a girlfriend or be successful with women, right? It's a big problem for a lot of men, even successful men. And what I realized was, and this was just through years of going through different levels of success with the opposite sex, with women, in the end, like the more you want them, the less they want you. Like there's caveats there, but that's the general rule. Like if you're chasing them, they're going to get the ick and they're going to be like, you disgust me. Even if you are rich, even if you're tall, dark, handsome, all of those things, right? Conventionally good looking, like there's something in their energy that goes repel. And I found the same thing with a lot of material things like money, is if you're just chasing it, like it will elude you big time. And if you become more magnetic, which isn't an overnight process, but doesn't take that long, to be honest with you, then these things come towards you and you don't feel like you're constantly exhausted chasing all of these things that you don't care about that much. Like you need it. You don't care about it that much. Yeah, like imagine chasing like a woman for like years and years and years, and then you get it and you're like, oh, I didn't even want you. Like you'd be a bit disappointed. Whereas if it's like the one woman of your dreams and you like magnetically attract her and it all kind of happens a lot more seamlessly and it feels like God brought it together and you're co-creating with God rather than like forcing everything, that's a lot more satisfying. And that's the world I want to live in and the reality I want to live in. Call it delusional, but I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes and I've experienced it and I've seen other people experience it and I've read about people's experiences and I've watched other people's experiences. Like that's a much more aligned state of being. And that is a world I want to live in personally. Yeah, focusing less on the material, more on how you feel, I think is a cheat code for getting more of the material, or at least not more of the material, is a cheat code for getting more of the things you actually want, including material things as well.
Yeah. I think you just wrote a tweet about that 2 hours ago where it's like spirituality isn't woo-woo stuff. It's all about understanding that the internal state is equal to external, not the other way around. Yeah. And I think like, I wrote something like I used to write in Quora before I wrote on X. Like that's actually how I got into online writing. And I used to be like the guy who chases women. Like, dude, I I'm young, but like, dude, I was a horny teenager, bro. Like, I was
You got started young, bro. I knew me and you had something in common. You're a dog. Yeah, well,
dude. I
maybe not
had
anymore, but you...
my first girlfriend when I was like grade 7, which is I don't know 12 or something. Like, dude, I was chasing women, and in the beginning it was like cute and like I was actually attracting a lot of women. But as I grew older, like around 16 or 17, a lot of women started like seeing me as a creepy guy. And like what you said there was true. It's like when you want women so bad, they'd be like, "Whoa, like this guy is weird." Like, because I think it's also something like, now we're talking about women, but basically it's like if you don't have anything, if you're chasing a woman all the time, it's like they will sense that this guy has nothing more important to do than chase me. So why would I date him? Like, he's not gonna provide for me. I don't know. Like that's my theory. Because like if you're just spending all your time obsessing over the woman, then that means that you're not building yourself up. And why would a woman want to date a guy who is not able to provide, protect, and preside, right? And that's why, like, I wrote before in Quora when I finally found like actual respectable, like the girlfriend that I want, like the girl that I want. I'm together with her. I've been with her for like 2 years already. She's actually my fiance now, and like I wrote that like there was a question in Quora, how do you find the perfect woman? And I was like, well, I didn't find her actually. I just built myself up to be the type of person that would attract her. Because then if she came into my life and she saw me, she would say, okay, this guy is like the person that I want to be with. And I don't need to like keep on chasing her. Of course, it would like I still court her, like I still give her flowers, sing to her, all that stuff. But I don't obsess over like chasing her, like getting girls and basically getting laid. I didn't think of that. I was just thinking, I like this girl. I'm gonna spend some time with her, but I still have other things to do with my life. So yeah, I think like building it's like a identity change, which is connected to your tweet. It's like if you build yourself to be the type of person who can get the right perfect girl that you want and the income that you want, the business that you want, the lifestyle that you want. I mean, automatically it will just come to you because you've built yourself into the type of person who deserves it.
Exactly, dude. That's why it's a long. It takes longer than people expect. It takes longer than people expect. I mean, I do think that we are given God-given gifts. I think we are born with certain talents and certain abilities, and I've been playing with all sorts of frameworks and theories and bringing them together, and ChatGPT, and like mapping things together and being like, this is, I've established some pretty firm beliefs about who we are at our core, and the fact that there are things that we have God-given gifts, right? But without taking the conversation in a completely new direction yet, developing ourselves into that person who gets those things that we want. Like, it's not about getting the things, it's about becoming the person who draws those things in, who automatically, it's a byproduct of the person you become. And that's why self-development, although it's kind of not really called that anymore, like it's called other things now.
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship, like what else have we got? Like entrepreneurship's just a byproduct of self-development. I would say that, like, to some extent, like spirituality is also a byproduct of self-development. And basically what we're all doing here is monetizing self-development. To be honest, like that's actually why the coaching industry and the game that we're in as well, consulting, even just like done for you services, agencies, business in general, like you have to become a completely new version, an upgrade, and you have to make a lot of sacrifices. It's all self-development, but your growth is just off the charts compared to the majority of people, which is why you get these rewards. But it's all a byproduct of who you are. So if we go back to women, it's like that you can be the person that attracts women completely unconsciously. Like, you might just be doing things unconsciously and you could still be an absolute stud. But when you actually realize that, there's there's method to the madness, and maybe there was some things you were doing unconsciously, which I find a lot of this when I'm reading books. I'm like, I've been doing that unconsciously for years. Unconscious competence. I've been doing that competently without any consciousness, without any conscious thought for years, and now I've become aware of it. I can double down on it, and now I've relieved a lot of my anxiety because I now know that I do that already, and I just need to make sure that I'm doing it with awareness now. So I find that with women now, it's kind of funny where, and it doesn't matter what stage you're at, if you're in a long-term relationship, if it's your wife, if you're just trying to find a girlfriend, if you're literally, even if you're just trying to pick up girls and get laid, it doesn't matter where you're at. You realize that it doesn't matter if you have conscious competency or not. If you become aware of what keeps a woman interested, gets a woman interested, etc., you are just going to have more success than the guy that doesn't have a clue. It's not an accident that people become a certain way. It's not an accident that people become successful. It's not an accident that people become rich. It's not an accident that people become an absolute babe magnet. It's not an accident that people have a really healthy relationship with their partner, loving relationship. Nothing's an accident. It's all a byproduct of who you are. And it's just how much work you're willing to put in without becoming a self-improvement junkie, and then your whole life becomes one big theorized existence where none of it's actually you're not taking any action. It's all in your head, which weirdly, my personality type, according to Myers-Briggs, we love theory a lot. Fortunately, I'm just a loose cannon, so I'll take a lot of action to offset it. But it's basically just one big game of self-development. And as a man especially, I mean, women have their own game to play, but I think you never stop working on yourself. And even when you go through there's always an area to improve. It doesn't mean taking up new things and adding more. It just means paying attention to the things that were always there. You just weren't giving mind to, you weren't paying mind, you weren't mindful of. So yeah, we're just out here living a self-development existence and seeing what the byproducts are.
I love it, dude. Speaking of self-development, I was curious because we talked about money, we talk about women. I wanted to talk about another thing that self-development gurus, I would say, talk about as well, which is health. Curious, how do you look after your health? What's your typical day look like? Do you work out every day, go for runs? Or what does life in terms of health look like?
Well, health's a big one for me. I would say that health was my gateway into self-development. I mean, the first self-development book I read was How to Win Friends and Influence People, actually. So maybe health wasn't. But no, it was. I was in the gym at a young age. Before books and information, I was actually just taking action. These days, things have changed for me, dude. At the beginning of the year, I just went on an all-out offensive to get as jacked as humanly possible. I actually enjoyed that. But I got to the point where I was like, why am I just putting on all this muscle? Am I trying to compete? Am I trying to get really strong? What do I really want? And what I realized was I wanted an athletic physique where I was proud of what I look like without having to obsess over it, which is bodybuilding is an obsession. So I was kind of going down this bodybuilding, athletic physique kind of vibe. And then I decided screw all that. And so what I did is I actually went back to my original passion, my original hobby when I was a kid, which is surfing. It's the best all-round workout, I think, available. If you like water, if you like the ocean, if you have access to it, I can't think of a better workout. I haven't really lost any muscle mass since I started, but basically these days, all right, we'll talk about the day. I usually wake up and depending on, I do 2 weeks sprint, 2 weeks chill. I'm on a bit of a chill phase right now. If I'm on the sprint, I'll wake up and I'll pray and do my stretching, but then I'll probably do an hour's work just because I want to get that done first. Then I'll go surf. If I'm on a chill version, I will pray and stretch, and then I'll go surf first thing. So it's just I'm prioritizing different things for different half of the month. But then the rest of the day looks pretty similar after that. After I surf, I will usually get coffee, breakfast, or midday. Then I will usually work on
during that time.
I do fast. Yeah, I do fast. Yeah. So I'll go surf. I'll exercise / surf fasted. Black coffee's all I need. Usually I've eaten plenty the day before, so like my body's good at running off. It likes fasted exercise, and I like the clarity I get when I'm fasted as well. Yeah, then I'll come back, more coffee, like ride the dopamine after surfing, like just get some more caffeine in the system. Then I'll usually do like a creative block, so like usually like a writing block or a creative block. Maybe I'll be doing some YouTube editing if that's a new thing, or rather something I'm reintegrated. Maybe writing like like some tweets or something like that, just creating. And then I will go for a walk. I'll try and get a walk in. Afternoon after that will be like client stuff. I put my clients last. No, joking, guys. That'll be when I'm like dealing with, because of the time zone, that's when I'm dealing with like calls. That's when I'm dealing with text. That's when I'm dealing with putting out fires. That's when I'm dealing with project work that I might be doing for them or helping them with. Yeah, and then the afternoon is like late afternoon. I'm either doing yoga or I'm reading. Yeah, that's basically my day at the moment. And this is just a staple. I love reading fiction before bed. Like that is just something.
What are you reading right now?
I love it, dude. I've got Dune. I'm reading Dune, and I've also got Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, which I'm constantly reading because it's just like, if you put all the books together, it's like this tall. So I'm just in and out of that saga, but I've got Dune, which I'm absolutely loving right now. So yeah, that's actually like a typical day for me across the board, I would say.
So you don't lift too much right now. It's all surfing.
Surfing, bro. Like,
damn.
Like you're getting your cardio. You have you have resistance. So like the water is resistance. You're also using a lot of your upper body. And where I have like a base, like you got to bear in mind, like I've been training in the gym / like doing all of this fitness stuff since a young age. Like I've always been a bit of an athlete, like even when I was a kid. So, and then I put on a lot of muscle in my teens. I kept a lot of that muscle in my 20s, and I built quite a bit at the beginning of the year. Now I'm like, my muscle is just kind of staying constant. It's just nuances, like how vascular my biceps are, or like, I don't know, like how big my quads are, or how big my glutes are. Like those are the only real things that like change. But overall, like my physique is kind of already built. Like this is one thing that I think a lot of people should realize, younger people and people who are maybe like coming up to 30 as well, is like, you can kind of like build your frame that will probably be your frame forever in your 20s. I could go and train twice a week now, and I would kind of keep the mass. I'm not really that massy per se, but like I would kind of keep my muscle because I've just been building it for years. Like you see some of these like old dudes that are like 50 and they're jacked, and everyone's like, what the hell? Right? And I'm kind of laughing to myself because I'm like, they basically never stop training. And it'd be hard for them to lose that muscle now. Like they're kind of stuck with it. Like that's how I see it. So for me, it's like it would take a lot to completely dissolve all the muscle I've built over years. And I'm probably one of the bigger surfers in terms of like muscle mass, like when I'm surfing. But I don't need to lift weights often at all. So bro, no, I'm not really lifting weights at all. I don't need it. Surfing's just an all round for that anyway. So yeah, I'm getting everything I need from that, to be honest.
Damn. How about your your diet? Do you still like try to hit the? You're still thinking of the macros or whatever? Not really. Just eating whatever you want.
Well, it's weird because I feel like everyone should try if it fits your macros. Not because it's something they should do forever, but because I think people should understand the concept of like fats, carbs, and protein, and like what happens when you tweak them. If someone came to me and they were like 19 and they were like, bear in mind, I'm not like a health expert, but like I've tried everything under the sun. Like I've guinea pigged all of this stuff. And they were like, in the long term, I want to build like a really strong foundation for my body and a foundation of knowledge and like intuition, so that eventually I don't have to do any measuring or any like, I don't want to be super anal in the long run. I want everything to be instinct, like everything to be second nature to me. I would say go and do, if it fits your macros for your diet, like go and do a strength training protocol, go and do a bodybuilding protocol, like experiment with these things so that when you get to the age of like 28 and, you know, this is when people start to get a bit scared. Personally, I'm find myself more excited about getting to just turn 30, more excited. You know in your head, like, oh, I've eaten a lot of fat today, or like, that food has a lot of fat in it. So why would I have a really fatty breakfast that's like exceptionally fatty and then have a really fatty lunch and a fatty, like, you know, in your head, like kind of what it consists of. And I think that is amazing knowledge that becomes second nature to you as you go through life. Because for dinner, if you had a high fat breakfast and a low carb breakfast, you're probably going to go for a low fat dinner and a higher carb dinner and balanced protein. You can kind of like, it's second nature to you now. So now you don't have to be as anal about all your food. You just kind of know, like, if I'm going to choose between the beef rendang or the like lasagna, like I know the lasagna is going to be a lot higher in fat, so I'll probably go for the rendang. I want them both, but now the choice becomes easy for me, and it actually becomes easier to make food choices. So the original question, dude, what's the diet? It does depend, but I recently subscribed to a client of mine was talking about high sugar diet. So
that
doesn't mean
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, dude. I was like, what the hell? He's like, it's all about eating an abundance of food. So lots of fruit, lots of potato, plenty of meat. The whole idea isn't about like shrinking your food down. It's about it's about being abundant. And when you're abundant in your eating, you become abundant minded. And I just was like, screw it. It sounds like there's, and it speeds up your metabolism, all this stuff. And I was like, I don't know if all this is true, but like, I'm willing to try it. I tried it. Dude, eating's never been so fun, and staying in shape has never been so easy. Like it's literally like piece of piss. So lots of fruit. Recently it's been lots of fruit, lots of caffeine, not super high like protein, to be honest with you. And I've just found, like, weirdly, like my body has just kind of retained muscle, and it's been pretty lean most of the time. So that's just where I'm at the moment. It's an experiment. So
how long have you been in the high sugar? Yeah.
3 months. 3 months, I would say. Like my health is great. My health is great. My energy is very high. My sleep's great. My libido's great. Apparently it taps into like your inner child energy, because I don't know, when kids have sugar, they're like, so.
But it's all natural sugars, right? Like fruits, not like the refined sugar.
90% is all natural. Like in the week it's strict, but like, don't get me wrong, dude. I'm a dessert man. Like, I love a dessert. Like,
cake and all
trust
that
me,
stuff.
like, dude, honestly, like, anyone that knows me knows, and to be honest, they won't even look at it as like Dan or like Westy, as my friends might call me. Like, they're not looking at it as like, he really loves dessert. They're like, I love dessert. So we hang around. So naturally, everyone loves dessert that I'm like friends with. But we're not any of these weirdos that's like, no dessert, no this, like weird, cranky, like you know what I mean? Like, but we're all in on desserts. So like, I'm fortunate to have friends that aren't weird about dessert. So there is a bit of processed sugar in there, but like, mate, I'm human, and I'll burn it off anyway. So yeah, if I start going a bit too over the
10,000 steps, bro. I swear,
exactly,
bro.
Dude.
I don't know. Like for me, I've lost so much weight just because I've been consistent with that for like 3 months. And like, I mean, not lose weight, sorry, but like lose fat and gain muscle. I don't know. It's probably because I lift. That's why I gain muscle. But I've lost so much fat just by constantly like hitting 10,000 steps. And it doesn't have to be torturous. Like sometimes I just do it while I'm thinking, while I'm like, I record myself with like my thoughts, and I would walk, and then it's like 8,000 steps. Boom. Like I just did 20,000 today. Awesome.
Walking's a cheat code. When I was my most lean, I was a gardener in Australia, and I was doing 20,000 steps a day, easy, working out a few times a week, like 4 times a week. That was when I was doing like just meat and honey diet. Like that was a really good time. But what I've kind of realized, dude, in the end is like, it all works. All of it works. All we need is something for us to be consistent with. So that's why like fad diets and like 10K steps a day, like these things they're not actually the magic. The magic is consistently sticking to something. And the only way that we can consistently stick to something is if we have something with rules. So if there's no rules, it's hard to be consistent. And so right now, like, you're getting results with 10,000, sounds like you're doing more than 10,000 steps a day, but like, you're getting results with that because you're consistently sticking to that thing. Whereas the diet thing's interesting because, dude, I've got results with carb backloading, which is something I'm not even going to go into, but I've done that. I'm getting results with high sugar. I'm getting results with meat and honey diet. Like, it doesn't matter. I think a lot of it is like programming your brain to believe, and then that actually has an impact on your body and how you and how much of a like maybe the placebo is having an impact on bodily function. So, for example, that test, that experiment. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was the 2 milkshakes. Have you heard of this study?
No.
So there's 2 milkshakes and two groups of people. And what they did is one of the milkshakes was high sugar and one of the milkshakes was low sugar. And what they did is they gave the high sugar milkshake to one group and they said, this is a low sugar milkshake. It's low sugar, low calories. And they gave it to that group, and then they measured that group's insulin response levels. And because they believed they were getting a low sugar milkshake, their insulin response was way down. Like, they basically didn't get an insulin spike. And I don't know how familiar you are with weight gain, but the theory is that if your insulin spikes, that's the problem with sugar, is that then leads to like fat production or like weight gain, basically. I'm not a scientist on that, but that's basically the theory in a nutshell. Then, by the way, I think I made a mistake. I think it was just one group. Then they gave the low sugar milkshake to, I think it was the same group. So forget about the second group, they're gone. Same group. And they gave them the low sugar milkshake and they told them it was high sugar. They said, you are having a high sugar milkshake right now. And after they drank it, their insulin levels spiked dramatically. And what they realized, what they concluded, and what it doesn't take a rocket scientist to conclude, because we've just spoken about it, is that as a placebo effect, they were controlling and basically dictating their bodily functions. So like their responses to things was being controlled by their mind. And I kind of realized this about some of these diets and some of this food and some of this stuff. If you believe it's going to work, even if it's not optimal, you're giving yourself an invisible advantage. Because if you believe it's going to work and you're having a high sugar diet and you're like, this is burning calories, and I'm a fat burning machine, and like, oh, this isn't spiking my insulin, like that alone can like offset the physical effects of food. And this is why some people just can't get fat. They're like, they're upset. They're like, I can't gain weight. I'm so upset. It's like their belief is so deeply ingrained that they can't actually gain weight.
Damn.
And vice versa. And so once I kind of realized this, like, by the way, it takes a strong mind for this. I'm not saying this will work for everyone. Most people won't get results with this because their mind isn't strong enough. Sorry. But like, I kind of, and I'm not saying that my mind is there yet. I'm just saying like, I'm aware of this. And like, for me, I'm like, everything works because our mind can actually control a lot of what's going on.
It sounds like it's very similar to business as well. Like any business can work, but you need to stick with one business, like one sort of business that you will make work. If that makes sense.
Exactly. Whatever fits best for you, and then just commit to it. I think it's just commitment and belief that it will work, and yeah, it'll start to happen. And that's why I think when people buy a program like a weight, even like a diet program, or they buy a coaching program, or they buy a course, they're basically just saying, like, I'm committed to this. And I think that is what a lot of people lack, is the ability to go all in on something, at least for an extended period of time, before they tap out. And I think the easiest way that people have figured this out, the self-development crowd that we're on about, like a lot of them end up becoming creators or entrepreneurs or whatever you want to call it. They know that the money in their bank is worth basically nothing compared to the amount of commitment they could have to something if they just went for it. And that's where I'm at now. Like, everything's an investment, like everything. Like if I'm spending money on something, it's to get a bigger outcome down the track. And so if you really want to take your health seriously, I guess, even if you could get information for free online, you'd go and hire a coach of some kind, or you go and hire a personal trainer. or you'd go and buy a course, something like that. And this is why I think if you are that obsessed with leveling up in life and going to the next level, like it becomes just like a logical to basically pay to get the thing, to invest in it financially to get the outcome you want, or at least something close to it, and commit. I think that's what it is. It's just commitment, and everything works. It's just find what you want to find, the thing that appeals most to you, commit to it. And yeah, I like the comparison from health to business, because it's all linked. It's all linked inherently. Like we could even go a whole different avenue with that, but to save tangents, yeah, we won't go there just yet. But yeah, you're completely right. Like just finding something that makes sense, that you can commit to, that other people have got results with, and just go to town. And that's exactly the same in business, and the same with relationships. Like that's and the same with religion. I don't know what works spiritually. Can you just give me the playbook? All right, which one do you want? We've got the Bible, we've got the Quran, we've got the Baghdad Veda, I think it's called. We've got Taoism. We've got like all of this stuff. I don't even know if Taoism is more like a philosophy, but you get my drift. Like it all ends up sort of saying the same stuff.
Yeah. So now you have like at your birthday last week, and you've left the 20s and entered the 30s. How does it feel, man, to be like to enter 30s?
Pretty good. I like getting older personally, because I'm constantly shedding old, immature versions of myself. So for me, I've noticed so many benefits as a man of aging. So for me, I'm not in a rush to age, but I'm also not fighting it. Like I don't see it as a negative. I think a big thing for like a big problem for men is like they know that as they get older, they'll probably start making more money. But I think a fear is that they're going to become less attractive, or that they're going to find it harder to get in shape, stuff like this. Like they're going to feel like their health is deteriorating. I know 30 isn't that old, but it's a third of the way through a life, right? Not even an average life. Maybe it's like the average life is probably halfway through the average life. Yeah. That's sad to think about. For me, it's like I'm a third of the way through, trying to bring on that placebo, long life placebo effect. But for me, I'm like, I just feel like I'm getting better with age. Every year I'm getting better. Every year I'm getting wiser. Every year I'm getting healthier. Every year I'm getting more attractive. Every year I'm getting, and obviously I understand there's like a bell curve here. Like eventually your brain's going to stop working, and eventually things are going to get, it's not like it's always up. But 30 is just, I feel like it's just an awesome age for a dude. Yeah. I'm excited for what this decade brings. I think there's going to be some definitely fully coming into my manhood. I think this decade, I think most men probably find it in this decade, but taking on more responsibilities. But I was speaking to my friend's dad, and he said he's like 62. No. Yeah, he's 62. And my mate asked him, what do you think is the best age for a man? And he said, I think right now. He's 62. So the fact that, and obviously he's one of my best friends, like he's not my dad, but I'm aligned with these guys. To hear that from someone that I'm pretty close with, that essentially is like kind of like family in a way, similar in values and just beliefs and like the way that we approach life. To hear him say now is the best age, he's 62, I'm like, well, that kind of fills me with confidence in terms of like, it just gets better and better as a man, at least, from his perspective. And if you're an optimist, so any of those like getting older fears are kind of been allayed. Now it's just focusing on the benefits of being in my 30s. I love it, dude. You can go anywhere in the world and people will treat you with respect and will be aware like you're a fully grown man. We're going to treat you like a fully grown man, although some men don't get treated like fully grown men because they're wimps, but like that's the side note. Like they just don't. Like they could be like 40, 50 and like people just bully them, which is sad. But like, you know, you're kind of that peak physical condition, and yeah, I'm just loving it, dude. I'm loving it, to be honest. Grateful to be here, grateful to be 30, and just excited to see what this decade brings.
Yeah, dude. So my last question is, if you could give a piece of advice to like a 20-year-old, since you're already in your 30s, what would it be?
I had this conversation the other week with two good friends of mine. They're both younger than me. They're both entrepreneurs. There's a lot of mutual respect there, but I'm a few years older than them. And they asked me, so one of them is 23, asked me the same question. And the most important thing I realized lately was if you make one thing your number one priority, everything in life will automatically fall into place. Everything. If I had have understood this, not just known it, understood this earlier, I mean, I have no regrets. I'm really happy with where I am, but I think I would have been able to move faster and get more of what I wanted at an earlier age. And that is that everything is downstream from your energy. So if you make energy, your own personal energy, your number one priority, I'm talking put it above relationships, put it above all of the other goals you have. They are relevant and those people are relevant in your life and stuff. But if you just make it like, what gives me energy and what takes it away? If you're always prioritizing the thing that gives you energy, you will essentially rise. You'll rise. Like you will rise in hierarchies because no one can keep up with you. You will attract things because energy, large energy sources, think about the sun. It attracts, the whole solar system is built around the sun. It's literally the center of our universe, or at least our solar system. When you have high energy, like things are just attracted to you. So like you're now attracting things, like law of attraction, talk about law of attraction. Yes, thoughts have a frequency and all of that stuff. I'm not going to get too technical, but the most important thing is like how high a frequency are you? Like what is your personal energy level? It isn't woo-woo. It's just like, are you doing the right things to feel great every day and get your energy so high that everything wants to be around you? People, opportunities, money, success, the things you want, they want to be around you. So if I had understood that ruthlessly prioritizing my energy was basically the name of the game, like there's other parts of the game that are important, but like that was actually going to be the number one contributor to where I am in life, I would have done it a lot sooner. And that means I probably would have been led to God sooner, because God is a huge energy source for me. My faith, health, you know, sometimes when your energy's high, you don't need as much sleep, which I found interesting because everyone's telling you how much sleep you need. But actually it's like, it's all about your energy levels. The reason that people are telling you to sleep more is so you get more energy. The reason why people are telling you to eat the right foods is so you have more energy. Like it's all about your personal energy levels. And the biggest indicator of that is how you feel. So great health is usually associated with high personal energy. And then when your energy is high, it's just, you don't become like some weird ADHD, like crazy person. It's just, it's an energy that you give off and people want to be around it. And if I had have just made that my North Star earlier, yeah, like decisions become a lot easier. And that would have, that possibly would have got me some of the things I wanted sooner. So that was what I would say to my younger self. Make your personal energy, which the biggest indicator of is how you feel. If you make that your number one priority, everything is downstream from there. All the things you want, all success, women, relationships with all sorts of people, opportunities, money, health, relationship with God, business success, all downstream from there. And if people want just an actionable way to implement that, whenever you're faced with a scenario, just ask yourself the question, does this give me energy or does it take it away? And then the decisions are easy, because you can actually make very hard life decisions based off that. Like if you need to cut someone off because they're draining your energy, but they're close to you, well, what's my North Star? People pleasing, keeping my group happy, keeping my parents happy, keeping society happy, or my own personal energy? If the answer is my number one thing is my own personal energy, you will get rid of that, whatever it is, out of your life, and you will ascend to a higher level of energy. Yeah, that would be it, bro. That would be it.
I love it, dude. Oh, you appreciate your time. Appreciate the wisdom you have shared here. I know that you have recently just launched a Substack, and I love the vision here. You said like it's aligned to your vision where it's like more essays, less of the marketing stuff. So people who want to learn more about, this wisdom that you shared, can people subscribe to you, man?
I've got it in the link in my bio across all my social platforms. So if you want to read my writing, then you should probably find me through X, which is at Dan West World. I've got other social platforms that you might become exposed to if you follow along. Confession, I still haven't posted my first Substack yet, but I've actually just been drafting it today. So as in, it's ready to launch. I just haven't posted it yet. If you get in quick, guys, you might be one of the first to read my first issue on Substack. So, hey, look, I said I wasn't doing any marketing stuff, but there's a little bit of urgency there. So you live by the sword and you die by the sword, don't you?
I love it, dude. I love it. All right, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, dude. I appreciate you asking me back. I love these chats, and excited to see what you get up to as well, because you're definitely one of the more established, well-known and high reputation creators on the platform, at least on X. So dude, good to see you back as well. So
appreciate that, man. That's big from you. And I'll see you around X, and ciao, bro.
Ciao.